A routine police chase ends in inexplicable mystery. A driver in Russia nearly gets clipped by a vehicle that seems to just appear out of nowhere, and a photograph the UK government kept hidden for decades may be one of the best pictures of a UFO ever taken. Is there real evidence of parallel universes caught on camera? I used to watch this video all the time growing up. It's one of my favorites. So in this classic piece of police dashcam footage, Officer Wayne Daniels is caught in a chase with this white car. The vehicle is weaving through traffic, making all these freaky, sporadic maneuvers, almost like the car itself is possessed. But aside from that, it's a pretty standard car chase until the vehicle makes a hard left and drives straight through a fence. Yes, through it. All Officer Wayne Daniels can do now is just watch as the vehicle he was pursuing fades into the distance beyond the intact fence right in front of him. Spooky stuff. Next is another strange car video. This one comes out of Russia. So this vehicle goes to make a left-hand turn, and as it moves into the intersection, suddenly this random car just appears, cutting them off, nearly causing a collision. Now, on one hand, you have all the strange theories. Is it a ghost car? Did the vehicle just suddenly spawn out of a parallel reality? On the other hand, this driver could have just roared into the intersection so fast they weren't on camera until they just seemed to show up, and that is just reckless driving. And honestly, I think that freaks me out way more than some mysterious phantom car appearing out of nowhere. Well, if there's anything that looks like it materialized out of a parallel reality, it's this thing. This has become a pretty famous photograph in the UFO/UAP community. It's called the Calvin photo. It was actually hidden for decades. Some people say it's one of the clearest UFO images ever taken. The story goes that back in 1990, two hotel chefs were out on a casual hike in the Scottish Highlands near a place called Calvin. They were just out for some fresh air, nice view, and then boom, they spot this massive diamond-shaped object just hovering in the sky. That's when they managed to snap their picture. A real sharp picture as well. They send it to a newspaper, but instead of publishing it, the paper passes it straight to the Ministry of Defense, and then the photo just disappears for over 30 years. Well, in 2022, a journalist named David Clark finally drags it out of hiding. Turns out a former Royal Air Force press officer had a copy stashed away this whole time. Clark gets a photo expert to analyze it, and guess what? There's no signs of tampering to the image. It is legit. So, what is this thing? Well, Clark thinks it's a real UFO. Not necessarily alien maybe, but definitely something unidentified. What you're looking at here is footage of what's been referred to as the Hasdalen lights in Norway. These things have been showing up since the 1930s, and no one's been able to fully explain what they are. It's these weird glowing orbs or flashes of light. They're seen floating or zooming around a valley. Sometimes they hover in one spot, other times they move around, fast or slow. They've been seen at night, in the daytime, and they've stuck around anywhere from a few minutes to several hours. Scientists have actually tried to study them too. There's been legit research, long-term observation. People have tried to explain it with stuff like ionizing gas clouds, rare atmospheric conditions, or reflections from aircraft lights, you know, all the standard science guesses, but none of them have ever definitively solve the mystery. Just what exactly is going on here? Well, it's called ball lightning. It's a rare, unexplained phenomenon, a glowing orb of electricity that floats around during a thunderstorm. Sometimes ball lightning will stick around for several seconds, even up to a minute. People have described it as anything from the size of a golf ball to a basketball, sometimes bright white, other times glowing blue or orange. It's weird, it's unpredictable, and it doesn't follow any of the normal rules. The craziest part is scientists still don't really know how it works. There are a bunch of theories floating around. Maybe it's plasma, maybe it's some kind of gas reacting with electrical charges, maybe it's something else entirely. No one's ever been able to make it happen in a lab. It just shows up randomly and then it's gone. That's probably why there are stories of ball lightning flying through closed windows or even damaging people's homes. It's like it just phases in from somewhere else and then disappears again like nothing ever happened. So yeah, could it be some rare natural thing we just don't get yet? Yeah, sure. Or maybe it's not just electricity at all. Maybe it's something slipping in from another dimension for a few seconds before vanishing back to wherever it came from. And that's not the only supposed time traveler captured on camera. There's also the story of Chaplin's time traveler. Take a look at this video here and see if you can spot anything odd, aside from the zebra statue. Yeah, see the woman walking in the background? Looks like she's holding something to her ear, right? Almost like a cell phone. Now, it's easy to look past this. I mean, cell phones are so common now that they almost seem like extensions of our bodies. But yeah, people didn't have cell phones back in the 1920s. In case you didn't know. Back in October of 2010, a filmmaker named George Clark uploaded a clip to YouTube titled Chaplin's Time Traveler. In the video, he's analyzing a bonus feature from the 1928 Charlie Chaplin movie The Circus. The clip shows footage from the movie's Los Angeles premiere, and if you look closely, there's that woman walking by holding what appears to be a strange device to her ear. Clark thought she was talking into a mobile phone, something that definitely wouldn't have existed in 1928. So it got people talking. Was this footage of a time traveler? Had this woman slipped into an alternate timeline from the future? Well, it's probably exactly what happened, but some people have some other, more out there ideas. Nicholas Jackson, for example, an associate editor at The Atlantic, pointed out that the woman could have just been using a portable hearing aid. This was a very new piece of technology at the time, so it wasn't common to see, but it is possible. But, I mean, isn't time travel, or the idea that this was a woman crossed over from another reality, more plausible to you than an old-timey hearing aid? Well, we're finally here. I've done videos on the channel before talking about the Mandela effect without ever directly discussing one of the most famous of all time, the Darth Vader Luke, I am your father line. While considering James Earl Jones just recently passed away, and the title of the video being Parallel Universes Captured on Camera, I thought I'd give my 2 cents on this one. According to huge swaths of the population, the version of Star Wars we watch now is not the one we remember, and I'm not talking about all the George Lucas edits. This goes deeper, almost like the version we watched when we were young was from some alternate universe, or we've all slipped into an alternate universe ourselves. At least those of us that remember the line being Luke, I am your father, and not just no, I am your father. Considering this is one of the most famous movie moments in history, it really is strange how often people would get this wrong. Every Vader impression at recess began with Luke. Parodies would get the line wrong. One that sticks out to me is in Toy Story 2 with Zurg's line, no, Buzz, I am your father. So what's going on here? Are a bunch of us simply misremembering the line, or have we all really slipped into a galaxy far, far away? So this video was posted to Reddit by user Upstairs Cash 8400, and it's pretty bizarre. At first it just looks like an empty street with a bird in the sky until you realize that that bird's not moving. Then things get even stranger when we see a mother and son both looking up at the bird, completely confused about what they're seeing. So this is not just a glitch in the video. Now, sure, they could be part of a hoax, but if they are, they do a pretty good job of acting it out. What makes this so weird is that there's nothing behind the bird. It's just open air. It's not near a building. It's not like it could be a sculpture or something. It's just hovering. No strings, nothing. Definitely a bizarre one. And finally, we have the WOW signal. This mysterious radio signal was picked up in 1977 by an Ohio State University radio telescope, lasting just 72 seconds. It got its name from astronomer Jerry R. Amon, who wrote WOW next to the data printout. The signal's frequency and intensity were unlike anything we've seen from natural sources, leading some to speculate that it could have come from extraterrestrial life, but there's another theory that it might have come from a parallel universe. Something, whatever created this signal, could have dipped into a black hole and is now in a completely different universe. Of course, less exciting explanations like a passing comet or space debris haven't been ruled out either. While there's no definitive proof of anything, it's definitely worth checking out the recording. It's pretty spooky sounding. Just what in the hell is going on up in the sky in this first video? So here we see a group of folks hanging outside watching the sky because something just doesn't seem right. The sky is bright blue. The thing is, it's not daytime, and everyone's pretty shook up about it. Especially when the sky suddenly turns dark again, as we can see here. Now, clearly there is a storm. I mean, you see some subtle lightning flashes in the distance, there's dark clouds up above, but this was one serious flash of lightning, if that's even what it was. I mean, it really does look like there was a glitch in the sky, and then suddenly it became daytime for a few moments and then went back to normal. And here are some images of the sky that night. That looks pretty insane. If I saw that, I would definitely think the apocalypse was on its way. Funniest comment on this one, by the way, could be one of those high-powered flashlights. Yes, high-powered flashlights, known to do that to the sky. Can you make any sense of this next clip? Weird. Snow filling up the reflection in the mirror, but panning to the window, to outside, there looks to be no snow falling. I really wish snow worked this way here. I mean, it looks lovely when you don't actually have to go outside and shovel it, walk through it, drive through it, shiver through it, clean up all the snow residue you inevitably drag into your house. If we really are living in a simulation, I would just prefer, you know, this type of glitch to happen more often, is all I'm saying. Is that too much to ask for? The bird in this next video comes from Blue French Horn 26, who said that her daughter's boyfriend was on his way to lifeguard training when he spotted this. Just what is wrong with birds lately? This is not the first bird stuck in midair video that I've seen online. And what's interesting about this clip is the dude behind the camera is not the only one who notices that something is off. One guy had gotten out of his car to take a picture. So it's interesting that people at different angles saw the bird and noticed how weird it was. I say this because some commenters said the bird may have been suspended by fishing line or something, which is possible, but you certainly can't see any sign of that in the video. What do you all think of this one though? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. We usually talk about planes disappearing on this channel, but this is something else entirely. A plane that seems to just be sitting up in the sky. This one comes from TikToker Tanya.Draws, who was driving down a road in Chicago when she spotted the plane, and according to her, it was not the first time. What's crazy about this one is how low the plane is. I've seen other videos where people bug out about a plane seemingly frozen in the sky, but the plane is usually way higher up in the air. Easy for optical illusions to happen in that case, and while this could be an optical illusion too, it is just interesting to me how close this plane is. I mean, we get a nice, clear view here. Anyway, regardless of the explanation, I mean, it just looks super weird. This next video got a lot of people talking about a year back. So a man named Eddie from Fresno, California, going by Break and Pop on TikTok, posted a video showing the reflection of this orange Corvette C8 in the window of a strip mall. The thing is, no one can find the actual car in the parking lot. Eddie pans the camera across the lot multiple times, repeatedly asking, "Where is this car? I seriously don't see the car anywhere." This one went viral. Hundreds of commenters trying to make sense of what they were seeing. Eddie even included the text "glitch in the matrix" and asked in the caption if anyone could explain what was going on. Some said it was proof that we're living in a simulated world. Some eagle-eyed commenters also pointed out some other strange details about the video, like two mannequins on a bench and this weird bird bath sign that led one user to joke, "Do birds even read?" Seemed like there was just a lot of odd stuff about this parking lot. One of the strangest phenomena caught in camera is the double sun effect. Basically, people have filmed what looks like two suns in the sky, and while this could be an optical illusion, some people think there could be something else going on. That what we're actually seeing is a glimpse into a parallel universe or an alternate reality. Jim Kaller, an astronomer at the University of Illinois, explains that the double sun is likely an optical refraction, but he calls it a, quote, pretty darn rare one, and admits that it's not fully explained by science, saying, "I doubt it's been computer modeled. There must have been some blob of atmosphere somewhere that caused this truly spectacular phenomenon, which in a sense is a mirage," end quote. Now, typically mirages happen when particles in the air bend light, but they're usually vertically aligned with the light source, not side by side like this double sun effect sometimes is. Kaller thinks that it could be a thick patch of atmosphere appear moving in front of the sun. There's even a historical reference to this in a book called Light and Color in the Outdoors by Flemish astronomer Marcel Miniart. He describes double sun phenomena in such detail that it almost matches the modern sightings. He wrote, "So many other instances have been reported that there is no longer any doubt about observations of sun and mock suns being at exactly the same altitude." But even with all this, experts still aren't sure what exactly causes this effect. Grant Perry, an atmospheric scientist, said, "This is not a common optical phenomenon that we're seeing here. It's definitely one of those effects that leaves you wondering, could we be seeing something more than just an optical illusion?" Imagine for a minute, if you will, that you've just died in a freak accident. Suddenly you open your eyes and an entity is standing over you explaining that you're dead, but has given you the opportunity to travel back in time to a universe running parallel to your own in order to save yourself from dying. Of course, what I've just outlined here is complete fantasy, but many people have watched this video here and conjured up similar ideas and stories. In this CCTV footage, we see two men walking down the street at night. Two men who look pretty similar, mind you, both wearing dark clothing, both around the same height, same male pattern baldness. Now the man trailing behind catches up to the dude in front and taps him on the shoulder just as a car passes, and then out of nowhere, this metal object swings out just in time for the guy to jump out of the way. If he hadn't received that warning tap on the shoulder, the thing would have plowed right into him. Now, there's a lot to unpack with this video. First of all, and what most people point out immediately about this video, is the fact that the guy who gives the warning tap seems to know what's about to happen. He doesn't look back and react like, oh god, we're about to be hit, I better warn this guy. No, he doesn't even seem concerned with his own safety at all. He just is always looking forward, taps the guy, totally calm, almost as if he's experienced this before. He also doesn't stick around, doesn't look at the guy directly, just taps him and then moves on, almost like he doesn't want to be seen. But why wouldn't he want the other guy to see his face? Why the hurry to get away? Well, the fun theory, of course, that started to spread online is that the dude who gave the tap is a time traveler, possibly even a future version of the dude who nearly got hit. Now, is this the only explanation? Well, of course not, but it's a fun idea, and I think there's enough strangeness about this video that it's not easy to chalk up to mere coincidence. Even if there's nothing extraordinary about this video, it's pretty miraculous how this man was mere inches from death. The multiverse theory may actually have some observational science evidence behind it. Scientists at the European Space Agency Planck Orbital Observatory have been studying something called CMB, or cosmic microwave background radiation. This radiation is left over from the early super hot stages of our universe. Now, back in 2010, a team from the UK, Canada, and the US discovered 4 strange circular patterns in the CMB. It's not clear what these patterns mean, but one cool idea is that they could be the result of our universe bumping into another one. In 2015, another scientist at the European Space Agency, Rand Ramchari, made a similar discovery. He took a model of the CMB and removed everything we know, like stars, gas, and dust, and expected the image to be pretty much blank. But when he did that, it wasn't blank at all. Chari found areas of the sky that were 4,500 times brighter than they should have been. His theory, those light patches could be imprints from a collision between our universe and another one. Let's talk about one of the most talked about photographs of all time, at least when it comes to the strange and unexplained. In 1941, a photo was snapped at the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in Goldbridge, British Columbia. At first glance, this looks like your typical historical photo. It's black and white. People are dressed in 40s clothes, old school cameras, all that stuff. But wait, there's one guy in the photo who immediately catches your eye. He's wearing more modern looking sunglasses, a printed t-shirt, and holding what looks like a camera that's too small for the time. People online have gone wild with the idea that this guy was a time traveler who slipped into the past wearing clothes from the future. A hipster from today somehow stuck in the middle of a 1940s photo. A pretty wild and far-fetched idea, and of course some people have tried to debunk this one, saying the sunglasses were actually a style from the 1920s. The printed t-shirt, well, Well, on a closer look, turns out it's just a sweater with a sports emblem on it. As for his camera, it was smaller than most, but portable cameras did exist back then. Boring, right? Well, sure, maybe all of that makes sense, but it doesn't stop people from wondering. Cause the guy does just stick out like a sore thumb. And at the end of the day, there's no way we can really know for sure. Did this TikToker briefly switch realities or experience a glitch in the Matrix? Jade Gonzalez, or as she goes by on TikTok, KDaddy777_2, she shared some security footage taken at the restaurant she works at. She'd been cutting lemons when something very strange happened. Take a look. So she slices through this lemon twice, once in half, and then she cuts through one of the halves. She goes to put the cut half in a bag, and then she's like, what? She inspects it for a little bit, only to realize it's not cut anymore, so she ends up having to recut it. Now, is it possible she just didn't slice all the way through the lemon? Yeah, but it didn't appear to be cut at all, at least according to her. Now, it looks to me like she sliced through that sucker. I mean, I see the separation, but then somehow it supposedly forms back together. Interestingly, some commenters mention a yellowish flash appearing around the lemon. One guy said, okay, with the brightness all the way up and my face an inch from my screen, I see two clear halves and a yellow-white flash, and it's suddenly whole again. I don't know, guys, we may have an interdimensional glitch lemon on our hands. This is Brady Feigl, and this is a guy named Brady Feigl. No, I did not just show two pictures of the same guy. Are they twins? Well, not technically. Are they brothers? Nope. Are they related at all? No. They're just two very similar looking men who happen to be named Brady Feigl, played minor league baseball around the same time, have an identical height of 6'4", and they each share exactly 53% Germanic ancestry. I mean, you know, just some minor coincidences. You know what I'm gonna say now? The fact that these two exist so closely to each other as well, it just feels like a glitch. I mean, if we really are living in a simulation, then this is a very clear case of someone running things who just got lazy and just copied and pasted these two guys with some very slight tweaks. And before, any know-it-alls in the comments are like, they don't look like twins, just stop, all right? They do, unequivocally. Identical twins? Maybe not. There are some clear differences in their faces, but they do look like they could be fraternal twins. Just admit it. So it's late at night and a trucker in Mexico is hauling cargo to Monterrey. Nothing weird, it's just another long drive until the company supervisor checks the truck's remote camera and sees something that makes his skin crawl. Sitting in the passenger seat is what looks like a woman. Pale, wearing old-fashioned clothes. Now, at first the supervisor just thinks the driver picked up a hitchhiker or something, which is totally against company policy. So he messages the driver, like, what's with the passenger? The driver is confused, and he just kind of thinks his boss is messing with him, so he keeps driving. But when he finally arrives at his destination, the supervisor shows him the dashcam footage. The driver freaks out, swearing up and down that he was alone the whole time. But clearly someone was caught on video sitting there next to him the entire trip. Now, it'd be one thing if it was a woman in modern clothes sitting there chatting with the driver, but this wasn't really the case here. Something just seems off about this woman. A ghost, a weird glitch in the Matrix, either way, you ask the driver and he'd probably tell you it was the creepiest thing he'd ever experienced on the road. What would you do if you were strolling through the park and came across this? 4 black cats, each one chilling on a separate bench. Not just randomly sprawled out either. I mean, 3 of them are sitting right on the edge of their benches, like they're part of some feline cult meeting, waiting for the 4th member to arrive. As for that last cat, well, it's still in motion, just hasn't figured out its assigned seating yet. This image was posted to Reddit titled Control-C, Control-V, so copy-paste, and yeah, it really does look like someone copy and pasted the same cat over and over. Now, black cats already get a bad rap thanks to superstitions, and seeing 4 of them lined up like some shadowy council of judgment doesn't exactly scream good vibes. I'm not even superstitious myself, have, but I don't even think I'd risk sitting on one of those benches. All right, let's finish off the list with some sciencey talk. So the universe is expanding faster than it should be, and scientists can't quite figure out why. That weird mystery is called the Hubble tension. Basically, we're getting different answers depending on how we measure the speed of the universe's expansion, and it's throwing everything off. To explain it, some researchers from the University of New Mexico and UC Davis have floated a theory that there could be a mirror world. Yes, a full-blown parallel universe made up of what are called shadow particles. Exact copies of the ones in our universe, but invisible, and only detectable through gravity. They're saying this hidden realm could be messing with how we perceive expansion, and might even be the source of dark matter, which is believed to make up most of the universe, but it isn't actually observable. This mirror world idea isn't totally new, but until recently it wasn't linked to solving the Hubble problem. Now scientists think it might be the missing piece that makes the math work. No one's saying that we've, confirmed the existence of parallel universes just yet, but if this turns out to be true, it could completely flip how we see the cosmos. So this next one is pretty creepy. A TikToker named Laughter Awaits posted this clip of a woman seemingly frozen in place. And the pair behind the camera are understandably totally dumbfounded by what they're seeing. Not only is this woman standing perfectly still, but her legs are crossed. I mean, like, how do you stand in this? I mean, I know you can't see me, but just imagine I'm crossing your legs, if you will. This video also goes on for over a minute, and she would have been standing like that before they started recording. Whoever this person is, she would be amazing at red light, green light, but all of a sudden, she just unfreezes and continues to walk like nothing happened. Very strange. Imagine seeing that at night though. You just look outside your bedroom window and she's there, just mid-stride, frozen in place. Those blinds would be getting closed. This next video comes from Lynn's No Hands, who wrote in the caption, "Why are all the same cars parked in this empty townhome neighborhood?" Very good question, Linz. Let's take a look. So, yep, as the caption says, it's all the same car, different colors, sure, but same type. And they're all backed into the driveways. None are facing the other way. Pretty weird stuff. And I don't know about you, but whenever I'm driving past neighborhoods like this, I do get a weird feeling anyway. It's just, a series of boring houses, all identical, just repeating over and over and over again. This, of course, takes it to a whole other level though. I mean, I don't know, like, did someone just buy this entire neighborhood and then turn it into a car dealership? Your guess is as good as mine. So back in 2023, a TikTok video posted by user unknown1575489, very catchy title, started making the rounds online. This video shows a person walking down a busy sidewalk, or rather, not walking. As we can all clearly see, this woman appears to be frozen mid-stride. It's not a still image, there are cars driving by. This person seems to be just stuck in place. Then moments later, the person just snaps back to reality and starts walking again. This video racked up more than 5.5 million views, with thousands of comments diving into theories. Most of them, of course, pointed straight to simulation theory, with users joking that this person was like an NPC in a video game. And yeah, I can't say I don't get some cyberpunk glitch vibes from this video. What's odd is that her hair doesn't even appear to move at all. It's one thing for someone to just stand as still as they can, but that bit is just extra odd. The hair not moving. And according to the uploader, she'd been standing like that for about a minute before he even started recording. So did this fish just learn to swim in midair? This video comes from TikToker Ruben.v.irs, and yeah, I do not know what the hell is happening here. So we watch as the water drains from the tank, but this fish doesn't go down with the water. It just stays at the exact level it was before, swimming around in the tank, just not with water around its body. Some of these things are really hard to describe in words, and here it is from another angle. And here, you'll notice that there are other fish in the tank, and they float down with the water as it drops further and further down the tank, because, that's just how gravity works. But this one fish zips from the bottom of the tank to the top, where there's nothing but empty space. Pretty cool video. Just what in the fork is this? Posted by Nico Too Swift. He and his siblings watch as this fork does what no fork has done before. I sat down for a while trying to form the words to describe what I'm looking at, but I just gave up. I mean, you can see what's happening. Now, not only is this very weird, but reading the text, this was all filmed at his brother's place, which, according to him, was haunted. So apparently this was not the only strange thing they'd experienced at this house.
In our number 10 spot today, we have 2027. There is a TikTok user who claims to be a time traveler that actually comes from the year 2027. Of course, this isn't a time travel list, it's a parallel universe list, but don't worry, they also have TikToks that pertain to parallel universes. In fact, they claim that they are actually in a parallel universe in which there are no animals or people. He claims to have just woken up in a hospital one day, somehow left as the only sentient being on the planet. That's creepy, or a dream, I guess, depending on your outlook on life. Apparently he claims to be part of some sort of experiment where, although he comes from 2027, he is in a 2021 world completely alone. People of course asked for proof of this, and aside from a few shots that show empty streets and the like, he did post a clip of himself walking into a completely deserted McDonald's. There's boxes of food left on the table and a jacket draped over a nearby chair, which definitely leaves a sort of eerie feeling, like people were just in the middle of something and then they suddenly disappeared. In our number 9 spot today, we have Sam's story. A TikToker who goes by the name of Sam Doll posted their parallel universe story on TikTok. She starts off by setting the scene, which was at her then boyfriend's house for the first time. Basically, she wakes up in the middle of the night to go to the washroom, and this is when she sees a guy standing in her partner's room. She didn't panic and just assumed that it may be his brother who she hadn't met yet, and she assumed that he was just sleepwalking. As she looked closer, she realized that this man was actually smoking a cigarette and appeared to be in his 40s. This is when she sits up and says, "Hey." And just like that, the man disappears. In the end, she didn't end up waking up her boyfriend and instead told him about it the next day. To her surprise, he said that she needed to tell his mom because apparently his mom had previously reported a similar sighting. In the end, because of the fact that the two of them shared the same experience, she believes that it is possible that this man is living in that house, but in a different universe, and that perhaps there is some sort of a leak in between the two timelines, making these strange occurrences a reality. In our number 8 spot today, we have The Trip. A TikToker and Nashville model named Katie Rocks took to TikTok to share a really bizarre experience she had that relates back to a 2017 school trip to France. This sounds like a dream, but when it came time to leave, things went a little awry. Basically, Katie remembers distinctly flying back home from France with all of her classmates and friends, but they all claimed that they missed the flight. She claims that she remembers sitting 3 rows behind some of her friends and that they all took a taxi back from the airport to the apartments they stayed in during their time in school, but none of her friends remember this at all. In our number 7 spot today, we have The Night at the Apartment. This story comes from the TikToker thegem_m, and it has to do with the time they think that they and a friend might have accidentally shifted into some sort of parallel universe. Basically, they start off by explaining that they and their roommate like to kind of run around their apartment complex in the middle of the night just for fun. So one night they're doing this, and they went to duet a really funny TikTok in the middle of these escapades. After filming the TikTok, they go to watch it back, and this is when they both stand up and look at each other super confused. Basically, they both thought that they were in a completely different location than when they stopped to watch the video. Like, we're talking about a difference of like 100 to 200 feet in a completely different part of their apartment, and they both had the same feeling. They were both super confused and thought that they were in the same location that it turned out they weren't actually in. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Master Manifester. Okay, so parallel universe TikTok is alive and well and thriving, so much so that people are now even giving tips on how to essentially time travel or jump into the reality you want to be in. A TikToker named Marianne Valenza, who calls herself a Master Manifester, can be seen on the app giving people tutorials on how to jump into your most desired timeline, and she says that in the shower is the best place to do it. She explains that the location is important because water is such a powerful conduit to the entire process. She explains that the first step is giving yourself time because it's not a process that can be rushed, which, I mean, given what we were talking about, that makes a ton of sense. She goes on to say that you need to soak yourself completely in hot water while you visualize, quote, the water cleansing you so that it removes all of your limiting beliefs, the negative thoughts that you have. And if you can, quote, shampoo and lather with a strong smelling scent such as orange or cinnamon. Honestly, who knew that shifting timelines could be so easy, clean, and relaxing?
Back in 2007, a security camera at the courthouse in Santa Fe caught something weird early in the morning around 7 a.m. On the footage, there's this glowing white thing, kind of round, kind of shapeless too, just drifting across the frame. It wasn't fast or anything, just sort of floating there. People online immediately started calling it a ghost. Obviously, I mean, what else are people gonna say? Well, some said it looked more like something out of phase with reality, like we were seeing a bleed through from somewhere else entirely. The way it moves doesn't look like a reflection or a glitch. It looks like it's there, just not in the way anything else usually is. Of course, the official explanation was that it was a bug walking across the lens, and sure, it could be that, but what do you think? Does it really look like a bug? People in different parts of the world have filmed what looks like two suns in the sky at the same time. One bright sun and then a second one that looks slightly smaller but still glowing like a legit celestial body. Naturally, a lot of people are pretty confused about this. Some folks say it's just a lens flare. Others say that nope, that was actually in the sky. So scientists have looked into it, like Jim Kaler, an astronomer from the University of Illinois, who says it's probably some kind of atmospheric optical illusion, light bending in weird ways because of moisture or temperature layers in the air, but even he is not 100% sure what the hell's going on. Mirages usually stack vertically, like one image above the other. This double sun thing is side by side, which makes a little less sense, so no one knows exactly what causes it. Grant Perry, another scientist, flat out said this is not a common optical phenomenon. So yeah, maybe it's just a weird trick of the light, or maybe we're seeing something that we can't even begin to comprehend. So this one is pretty wild. There's a CCTV clip that's become pretty well known for how downright bizarre it is. A guy is walking down the street at night. A second man enters the frame in front of him, at which point the first guy does something super weird. The guy in the back taps the dude in the front on the shoulder right as a car whizzes by and a metal object swings out as the guy in front is about to get swatted with it. If it weren't for the tap, he would have been hit, no question. The guy who does the tapping seems completely unfazed though. He's not panicking, doesn't even look back to check if the car's about to hit him. How did he know what was about to happen? It's also strange because he doesn't even say anything. Doesn't stick around to be like, oh damn, wasn't that nuts? It's almost like he knew exactly what was going to happen and was just doing his part to stop it. And then he's out. Naturally, the internet lost its mind with theories. The most popular one, the guy giving the warning is a time traveler. Maybe he's from the future, maybe a version of the guy in front of him from a different reality, trying to make sure his past self doesn't die in a freak accident. Could this be a huge coincidence? Maybe, but maybe not. So this is some straight up NPC behavior, except in real life. So a guy in Omsk, Russia wakes up one morning and can't find his flock of sheep. Usually he expects to find them right where he left them, but not today. He goes out looking for them and to his surprise finds the entire flock of sheep standing on top of a roof. Now there's no obvious way for these sheep to get up there, no secret sheep elevator that we know of anyway. The man assumed they'd somehow gotten spooked by something and just climbed up the roof. How the hell do a bunch of sheep get up there without making a noise or causing a ruckus? It's like they just teleported to the top, like an NPC glitch in a video game randomly appearing on a roof. Next we have space orcs. Orcs standing for odd radio circles. So what are these? Well, they're actually what the name suggests, massive circular blobs in space that show up in radio telescope images. And no one really knows what they are. They were first discovered in 2020 when astronomers were mapping the sky using Australia's ASCAP radio telescope. These huge rings appeared out of nowhere, perfectly circular, massive in size, and didn't match anything scientists had seen before. They aren't galaxies, stars, supernova remnants, or anything that usually pops up in space surveys. Some scientists think they might be the result of huge explosions or collisions far, far away, cosmic shockwaves that left behind radio footprints we're just now seeing. But others think they could have something to do with galaxies which have active black holes at their centers. And then there's the more exciting possibility that orcs might be a sign of something completely new, some sort of phenomenon we just don't have a name for yet. Point is, for as much as we think we know, the world is a highly mysterious place.
Starting off this countdown, we have Get Out of My Swamp. That was my failed Shrek impression. But isn't this photo super trippy? Like on the left we got Shrek Swamp where he likes to take a dip in the algae, and on the right it's crystal freaking clear. How is it possible that a single fallen tree divides the swamp like that? It's pretty cool, but insane. It literally looks like the tree is what's separating these two universes. Which universe would you want to be in? The one on the left, the duckweed algae universe, or the one on the right, the clear, calm universe? But seriously, it's insane how one tiny fallen tree partitioned the lake like that. Moving on to number 9, we have the mind-bending art. No, this photo is not Photoshop at all. This is a piece of work created by artist George Roos. He is known for creating quite mind-bending art. He has gone to a number of different abandoned spaces and created pieces like this, where it looks like you're in 2 different dimensions. The colorful fun dimension or the white and gray dull one. It's crazy how he does this only by using paint. My eyes literally can't comprehend this at all. The only thing is though, you have to be in the right location to view the image as so. From other angles, it will look messy. I don't care though, the fact that this guy is skilled enough to do this is enough for me. This literally looks like a portal to another dimension. Moving on to number 8, we have the Mexican mole lizard. I'm sorry, but hands down, this creature has to be from another universe. Just look at it. It looks like a naked mole rat, a snake, and a worm all got it on with each other, and this was the end result. Like, I genuinely feel uncomfortable looking at it. In fact, it's so unbelievable that it was even featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not, because no one can believe this is a real creature. So this lizard creature only has 2 arms. It doesn't have any hind legs. You know, like a normal lizard. And these guys can grow up to 9.4 inches or 24 centimeters. Like, that's insane and creepy. So basically, in another dimension, they have lizards that look like worms. Or should I say, in another dimension, they have worms that have faces and claws. Nana. In our 7th spot today, we have Schönbrunn Park. Hopefully I pronounced that right. If not, you guys are gonna come for me. It's okay. From the 18th to 19th century, the Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna, Austria was home to a number of emperors. The grounds were originally used as a small hunting lodge, but during 1683 it got destroyed during the Turkish attacks. As a result, it was rebuilt into something bigger and better for Maria Theresa, not Mother Teresa. She was an empress of that time and received the estate as a wedding gift, and everything had to be perfect, including the gardens. The palace was surrounded by beautiful Baroque gardens. The trees and hedges were planted in 1750 and go for over 30 kilometers. Every year, the gardeners use these specially constructed frames to get to the top of the trees and trim them so they look eerily perfect. This takes 7 months. I will repeat, 7 months to complete. That's insane. The way that all the trees line up perfectly is mind-blowing. It's very trippy. Also, count how many times I said trippy in this video and let me know in the comments below. But literally, it looks like this was shot in a parallel universe. Moving on to number 6, we have the frozen pond. Okay, this has to be the prettiest photo on this list. This is a frozen pond in Switzerland, and look how it froze over. In Canada, when lakes or ponds freeze over, it's just a solid sheet of ice. But this made a very detailed design. Literally, someone explain this to me. How come ice in Canada isn't this cool? This has to have been taken in a parallel universe. So there's a couple of explanations for this. One is that it froze like that because of the wind and water current. 2 is that the water in Switzerland is magical. 3, the ice sheets broke and then refroze together. But I'm gonna go with number 2. The water in Switzerland is magical. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Don't Look Behind You. In Southeast Asian mythology, a Tule is a spirit said to be an undead infant made from black magic. Now, they are mostly harmless, but humans can use them to do dark deeds for them. In this video, 2 people are playing guitar and singing when all of a sudden this creature appears behind them. The scariest part is that only the cameraman appears to see it. The 2 musicians have no clue what's going on. What do you think? Could it really be a Tule? Moving on to number 4, we have the found footage from Texas. Now this video is nightmare fuel. Creepy music plays in the background as we see the cameraman filming what appears to be a shower curtain. And then take a look at what happens. A pair of creepy long bony fingers slowly wrap around the shower curtain. That's not all though, it gets worse. The footage then cuts to a weird dark figure standing outside. The cameraman slowly gets closer to the figure and then it cuts away to another figure. This whole video is just comprised of random scary clips merged together. Some people have felt sick watching it. Others have gotten bad anxiety attacks and have passed out from getting so dizzy. Apparently, this footage was found in a box at an estate sale in Texas along with other pieces of junk. When the person played the tape, they were horrified. In our third spot, we have Don't Do Drugs. Now, I really didn't know what to title this video. It seems like everyone took a bunch of drugs and then decided to film a weird commercial. It is so bizarre, it has had to have come from a parallel universe. Take a look for yourself.
This is tasty. Yeah.
What is it?
It goes on, and it's quite disturbing. Now, I did do some research on this video. Unfortunately, I was not able to figure out where it came from. So if you have any information about the video, please let me know. Anyways, this video gets so bizarre that it looks like it's trying to hypnotize you.
Did I say ham? Repeat my mantra. Ham. Ham.
Somebody please tell me what's going on. Was this a real commercial? Or a weird art project? Or is it from a parallel universe? Or all of the above? In our second spot today we have Kirby the Clown.
Your dad keeps a gun in the house. Your dad's got a gun. Your dad's got a gun in the house. Guess who's got it now?
If you have a fear of clowns, then I sincerely apologize. I can't even explain what we just saw, but it is undeniably freaky. Footage of this clown can be found on the YouTube channel Kirby the Clown, and all the videos with this clown are pretty much just disturbing, if not more, like this one.
I've got a secret, secret, secret. I've got a secret. Your mom's already dead.
It always features the same clip of Kirby the Clown, but the voiceover changes every time. I'm telling you, this is the definition of a cursed video. And in our number one spot today we have Lending You a Hand. This video starts off with the cameraman exploring a creepy old house, and he is visibly scared. At one point, hands start appearing from the ceiling and they try to grab him. Then hands start appearing out of the walls and under the door to the room, all trying to get to him. The video ends with this demonic jump scare. Did it make you jump? It got me, because I was not expecting that. But how creepy is that? Imagine living in a parallel universe where arms can appear randomly and attack you.
Coming up at our number 10 spot, we have cosmic inflation. The first half of this list is going to be some scientific explanations for parallel universes, but don't worry, the science won't get that complicated because then I wouldn't be able to understand it either. First, let's start off by talking about the theory of eternal inflation. This is the idea that ever since the Big Bang, the universe has been rapidly expanding or inflating, and different parts of the universe have been inflating at different rates. This means that there are some sections of the universe that haven't really connected up with the rest, yet creating a sort of bubble universe, while our own universe has inflated enough to breed galaxies and stars and physics and science and whatever else. These other bubble universes are still in the process of creation. They have the potential to be the exact same to ours, ours, or completely different from ours. Or maybe there is a you in one bubble universe that didn't get that bad haircut that you still really regret. One time, my mom cut my hair like Marilyn Monroe. It was brutal. Coming up at our number 9 spot, we have mathematical constants. Similar to that theory is the fact that everything in our known universe can be explained with mathematical equations. Think the Pythagorean theorem. Scientists know that the structure of our universe can be broken down into our mathematical structure. Math, that is, as they call it, without human baggage. They believe that because of this, it is entirely possible to hypothesize that there are other universes out there that are based around different mathematical structures, each universe having their own laws and rules based off of the structure. So infinite mathematical structures means infinite universes, some being just slightly different and some being totally, completely different. Coming up in our number 8 spot, we have backwards universe. 2 years ago, in 2020, NASA discovered what they believe is evidence of a parallel universe, one that is more than a little bit different to ours. Their team, called Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA, had been working on an experiment in, of course, Antarctica for a few years. A so-called cosmic ray detection experiment reportedly found particles that seemed to come from another universe, one that was also created when the Big Bang took place. While this evidence alone is pretty astounding, they also discovered that the particles appeared to be moving in reverse, leading them to believe that they had found evidence of a parallel universe where time moves backwards. While parallel universes are often just the work of science fiction and movies, we may be closer to finding the truth of the situation than we originally thought. In our number 7 spot today, we have observable universe. Now let's talk about what scientists believe about the shape of space. In your head, maybe you imagine a big sphere or even some sort of donut, but most likely it's actually flat. And it stretches out infinitely, like forever, never ending. And if it goes on forever, then at some point it has to start repeating, because there is a finite number of ways that particles can be arranged within space and time. So if you looked far enough, you would eventually find another version of you, maybe wearing a different shirt or eating something different for breakfast. Maybe a version of you that didn't watch this far in the video, but hey, we like this version of you better anyways. Unfortunately, it would be pretty hard to actually see this far down the universe because our observable universe only extends 13.7 billion light years, this being the amount of time light has had to travel since the Big Bang. So you can consider the space beyond our observable universe to be its own sort of separate universe, one that we just can't see yet and probably won't for a long time, if ever. In our number 6 spot, we have time travel. Think about time travel for a second. Maybe you thought of Back to the Future. The concept of this movie is that if you go back in time and change one small thing, it can completely alter the future. Some scientists believe that time travel is a definite possibility in our future. So if it is, why haven't we seen anybody come back yet? And have they been screwing around and messing things up? Well, it's theorized that due to the way they would alter the universe, when time travelers go back in time, they actually create their own separate universe where things change. A parallel universe that works to include them in it. That would explain why we have never seen any real evidence of time travelers coming back to our current time, or even any point in the past, because they did not travel back in time in our universe, but instead to their own unique one. Am I melting your brain yet? Let's move on to some simpler stuff.
In our number 5 spot today, we have the shifter. Ashley Vask is a young woman from New Jersey who took to TikTok to explain that she has been shifting for a few years. She explains that her first encounter shifting into a different reality occurred by accident when she was listening to music. Basically, she shifts herself into a sort of Harry Potter world. She said, quote, "I was obsessed with Harry Potter at that point. All of a sudden, I felt extremely weird. I woke up and I swear on my life that I felt like I was at Hogwarts. It was the craziest feeling." She did her research after this and found out about the phenomenon of reality shifting, and since then has begun practicing more and more, and now takes to TikTok to share her tips and tricks with others. She explains that her favorite method of getting into this world is what she calls the tunnel method. This sees her lying down, closing her eyes, and visualizing a tunnel in which she can see the Slytherin common room at the end of. In our number 4 spot today, we have the dream life. Mavi Juka is another Harry Potter world shifter whose TikTok account had about 200,000 followers. She used TikTok to explain how she used similar techniques as Ashley from before in order to achieve the appearance she wanted and also the family relationships she aspired to have. She also uses the shifting in order to head off to life at Hogwarts, and she said that for every 1 hour that passes while she sleeps, she experiences a month at Hogwarts. She explains that she doesn't use this power she's harnessed on friends because she doesn't want those relationships to be forced. In terms of her Hogwarts life, well, things are definitely more calm there than the wizarding world we are used to seeing, because she explains that Voldemort isn't a part of her Harry Potter reality. In our number 3 spot today, we have the lesson. A TikToker named Mina, who goes by the username Your Soul Warrior, is helping people understand the multiverse and how it exists. She uses an example of a simple breakfast choice, either having a smoothie or pizza for breakfast. If you choose the smoothie, your reality continues on where you chose the smoothie, but there is also a reality in which you didn't choose the smoothie, which has another you in it living life under those circumstances. A small, inconsequential example that shows the complexity of parallel universes. She even took to TikTok to answer a really common question. Basically, it's the question of having a vivid memory from your childhood, but your parents swear that it never actually happened. Mina had an answer for this when she explained that this sort of thing is likely because you are pulling from another timeline and just don't realize it. She goes on to say that all of these timelines are running parallel to each other and to completion. It certainly is an interesting point of view on something that is actually quite a common experience. In our number 2 spot today, we have the afterlife. Okay, so basically the premise or the idea or theory that this TikToker has come up with basically relates to what they believe happens after a person passes away. Her name is Jolie, and she describes herself as a philosophical artist. She boasts thousands of followers who she shares her theories with, and one of the most controversial that relates to this video is the theory that we never actually die and instead are just transferred into another universe, sort of like a cosmic reincarnation. She basically explains what is called the quantum immortality theory. She explains, quote, "If you're hoping that apocalypse is going to bring you that sweet, sweet relief, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Quantum immortality theory suggests that nobody ever actually dies, that consciousness never experiences death." It's definitely an interesting theory, and one that I have no way of either proving or disproving, so how about you guys let me know what you think of this one in the comments. Are we on board? In our number 1 spot today, we have the night out. This story comes from a TikToker who was responding to another TikTok that asked users to share their parallel universe stories. Basically, she starts off by explaining that she was driving with this guy that she was dating after a night out. She looked down at her phone at one point to change the song, and when she looked back up, traffic was suddenly at a complete standstill. The car they were in was going 70 miles per hour, and they were just seconds away from rear-ending the car in front of them. She just closed her eyes and braced for the impact she was sure was about to come, but when she opened her eyes, she was instead on the freeway, no traffic in sight, everything was fine. She looked over at the guy expecting him to be absolutely shook like she was, but he was just chillin' and totally fine like nothing at all happened. So this is all weird, but to make things even weirder, after this night, the guy she was with, she never saw him again, his number was gone, she couldn't find anything to do with him. Like, it was as if he never existed at all. She is left with no answers as to what could have happened here, either in the car or with this guy.
What you're looking at here is obviously police inspecting a crashed car, but this was no normal car. This is known as the Siri ghost car case. On December 11th of 2002, multiple calls came into the police about a car swerving off the road and crashing into a ditch near an exit ramp in Surrey, England. Police show up, expecting to find a fresh crash and maybe help a driver in trouble, but they find something stranger. At first, the officers don't see anything unusual, it's just another crash site, but as they get closer, they spot this old, overgrown vehicle. And they do find the driver, but he's no longer alive, and hadn't been for a long time. And I don't mean hours, I mean months. It was the body of a man named Christopher Brian Chandler. he'd been missing for months. Based on the state of the car and the body, the police quickly determined the crash had happened 5 months earlier, back in July of the same year. Christopher's family confirmed that he had been missing since then. So the question was, what were people actually seeing on that cold December night when they phoned the police? There were no other accidents to be found. Some people believe they were seeing a sort of ghost car, a glimpse into another reality. Could it have been a time slip where the crash from the past somehow overlapped with the present moment? Some people think the reports of a crash were from a parallel universe or timeline, and the car appeared in real time for just a brief moment before disappearing. No one really knows for sure, and we'll probably never get the full answer, but it's a perfect example of how strange the world can be, and that maybe there's more going on than we can ever hope to understand. Now, what you're looking at here is known as a cold spot, deep out in space. Back in 2004, astronomers detected an anomaly in the cosmic microwave background, or CMB, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. This cold spot is noticeably cooler than its surroundings, spanning approximately 1.8 billion light years. At first, scientists attributed this to a vast, empty supervoid, a massive region with fewer galaxies, but studying it further using more precise measurements, there's some doubt about that explanation, suggesting the void might not be as large or as empty as they thought. Well, so what does this mean though? Well, the discrepancy has led some researchers to wonder if the so-called cold spot could be the result of our universe colliding with another universe during the early stages of cosmic inflation. A collision like that could have left an imprint in the CMB, giving us possible evidence for the existence of parallel universes. This is the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA for short. It's a NASA-funded experiment designed to detect high-energy cosmic neutrinos by capturing radio waves emitted when these particles interact with the Antarctic ice sheet. During its flights, ANITA spotted several events where particles appeared to be traveling upward through the Earth instead of coming down from up in space. Scientists were very confused because that's not supposed to happen. Particles like neutrinos had never been seen passing through the Earth like that. Well, one hypothesis is that these anomalies could be explained by the existence of a parallel universe where the laws of physics, including the direction of time, are reversed. In this scenario, particles originating from a mirror universe could travel upward through our planet. In 2019, scientists dropped what looked like a blurry orange donut onto the internet and basically broke science Twitter for a week. What people were seeing was the first real photographic evidence of a black hole, snapped by the Event Horizon Telescope. Now, what we're looking at isn't the black hole itself technically, because physics just won't let us actually see the thing. What it is the glowing gas and light bending around the edges of the black hole. That ring is the Event Horizon, a one-way ticket to nowhere, or maybe somewhere else. See, theoretical physicists like Nikodem Pawlowski think that black holes might not just absorb stuff into nothingness, but may instead be gateways to other universes. His theory says when matter collapses into a black hole, it might not get crushed out of existence, but instead get funneled into an entirely new universe on the other side. Like, imagine every black hole being the Big Bang for a different reality. It's all based on some deep theoretical physics. No one can prove it yet, but it does fit in with the idea about multiverses and bouncing universes instead of just one big beginning. So yeah, maybe this blurry space donut isn't just a hole, maybe it's a door. What you're looking at here is a piece of what's called Kirlian photography. Back in the late 1930s, a guy named Simon Kirlian figured out that if you zap something with a high voltage current and take a picture of it, you get these weird glowing outlines around the object. Plants, apples, people's fingers, suddenly they all looked like they had some kind of electric aura around them. It was like photographing a life energy, or maybe something from some other reality bleeding into ours. Now, people still argue about what this actually shows. Some say it's just moisture or static or whatever. Cool, noted. But we're here to talk about the weird and unexplained. So others think this glow is something deeper, a glimpse into another layer of existence, something we can't see with our eyes, but might be there all the time, kind of like the Force. Some even claim these energy fields shift with your mood or health, and if you believe the more far-out theories, you're literally watching energy from another dimension react in real time. No one's ever managed to fully explain it, but the fact that a basic electrical rig might be snapping pics of alternate layers of reality, that's the kind of stuff that does keep you up at 3 a.m. scrolling deeper and deeper into the weirder parts of the internet.
In our number 5 spot today, we have the Devil's Kettle. This area is said to hold one of Minnesota's greatest mysteries. As the Brule River flows through in order to make its way toward Lake Superior, there is a point where it makes an 800-foot drop in 8 miles. Because of this journey through time, waterfalls have been created as the water erodes the rocky terrain. One waterfall in particular is the one that we want to talk about today. The stream splits into two as it falls over the edge. One of the two streams flows exactly how you would think it does, while the other is a little more mysterious. On this side, the water rushes into a cavern that seems to go nowhere. The cavern never fills up somehow, but no one can figure out where the water is going. It's a strange phenomena that has resulted in the fall gaining the nickname the Devil's Kettle. It is said that people have tried to place things in the water that might help show them where the water is flowing to, but despite these efforts, the items were just never seen again. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Pyramids of Giza. One of the most mysterious places on Earth has to be the Pyramids of Giza. I mean, how? For centuries, people have wondered and tried to find answers as to how they were built at all, let alone with limited resources and without the use of modern technology. And they've been around for the last 4,000 years, so the durability alone is outstanding. This alone is the source of much mystery, but that's only the outside of them. What lies on the inside might just be even more so. The Pyramids of Giza, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, were believed to have been built as tombs for rulers and other wealthy people. That totally makes sense, except for the fact that there hasn't been any mummies found inside of them. Instead, there is just a plethora of secret, unexplored rooms, hidden doors and mirrors, you know, just regular ancient Egypt stuff. Many of these secret rooms remain completely unexplored over fear of damage. One more strange thing about these incredible creations, before we move on though, they were built on the center of the Earth. However they did this, they aligned them perfectly with Orion's belt, with no technology, just pure brilliance. I'm just saying, if anywhere is going to take you to a parallel universe, these pyramids will take you back in time to a completely different world. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Crooked Forest. Forests are already creepy. This one looks like it's straight out of a Tim Burton film. The Crooked Forest in Poland. There's around 400 odd-shaped pine trees near the town Gryfino. These trees are about 90 years old, and all of them, from the base, they immediately bend towards the north and then slowly curve back towards the sky like the other trees. Despite the odd bend, these trees are otherwise healthy. There's been so many theories, but none of them really stick. Some suggest it was a gravitational anomaly, but that's a little too far-fetched for me. I don't know. This isn't Interstellar, right? Other theories claim that there were heavy snowfalls that would weigh down the branches, which could check out, but why is it just a select amount? I've also lived in Canada my entire life. We have lots of snow, and I've never seen a Sleepy Hollow tree before. My favorite theory is that farmers were trying to make the tree curved on purpose to make stronger wheels, because the grain direction would make for naturally curved wheels. Again though, nobody knows for sure. What are your thoughts? Do we like the wheel theory? I'm just gonna keep a spare tree tire just in case. Keep it stored safely in the trunk. Okay, jokes. I'm funny. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Catatumbo River. Basically, in western Venezuela, right over the Catatumbo River, there are these insane, intense lightning storms, and it's a complete atmospheric phenomenon. This lightning occurs 140 to 160 nights a year, 9 hours per day, and from 16 to 40 times per minute. That is absolutely insane. That is so much lightning. Another thing that's so fascinating about this lightning is that it is colorful, and it doesn't produce any thunder. The lightning does change its frequency up from time to time, and at one point it stopped for a few weeks, and people thought that maybe it was going to have been exhausted forever, but that changed when the lightning came back, putting it right back on our list of mysteries that we just can't quite figure out. Many people have studied the lightning, trying to figure out how exactly it has been created and what makes this phenomena what it is, but we just aren't quite sure yet. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the Reverse Waterfall. This mysterious and strange location is another one that comes from India. Here there is a waterfall, but it's got a catch. While we all of course expect to see water cascading down, down when we think of a waterfall, this strange location instead sees the water moving towards the sky. Some people believe it's because of some anti-gravitational force, others think it's due to the heavy air pressure, and I'm not a scientist, so I'll let you decide. While this is certainly quite a strange place, it also definitely delivers when it comes to beauty. I think even if the water flowed down like a normal waterfall, this area would still see a lot of tourists just because of the immense natural beauty.
Starting off this countdown, we have the warning. This individual actually received a signal from his parallel universe self, and had he not, he might have actually died. So the narrator, who wants to remain anonymous, let's call him Robbie, was out walking one day when he saw a version of himself across the street. At first, he thought he was just seeing things, but surely right across the street was himself, just staring at him. He was dressed in identical clothing and everything. Robbie stopped and stared at him when all of a sudden his twin yelled out, "Run!" At that moment, a car came hurtling towards Robbie's twin. He saw himself get hit by the car, so he turned and he ran. And it's a good thing that he did, because seconds later, that same car came hurtling towards him. He looked back and Robbie in the car that hit him was gone, but there was a real accident that occurred right in front of his eyes. Had he not run, he would have been hit and killed. So he believes that his parallel universe self saved himself from dying. In our 9th spot today, we have the reverse signals. In 2016 and in 2018, scientists in Antarctica discovered radio pulses being emitted from the ground. The radio pulses detected high-energy neutrinos and were discovered by the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, otherwise known as ANITA. But here's the weird thing. The signals were coming up out of the Earth and heading towards the sky. Since the signals were coming up from the Earth instead of down from space, people believe that they may be traveling back in time and therefore from a parallel universe. For this universe, the Big Bang represents the end and not the beginning. Coming in. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with deja vu. After all this time, scientists don't have a clear explanation for deja vu. They believe that everyday deja vu experiences might be linked to the memories in our temporal area, but they have yet to prove this or come up with any other explanations. Others believe that deja vu occurs when different universes are in sync for a short period of time. For example, maybe in one universe you picked up a bottle of wine to pour yourself a glass, but maybe a different version of yourself in another universe picked up a beer. This happened at the same time, so you're in sync for that moment. And that's when you get that feeling, like, didn't I just do this? It's because your other self did something similar. Coming in at number 4, we have precognitive dreams. Precognitive dreams are dreams that can predict the future, or they can provide you with information that you wouldn't have otherwise known. There are a number of people that have had this happen to them, including myself. I've had dreams and then the next day it's come true, and there's no possible way for me to have known that this was going to happen. In fact, we have a whole series on dreams that have predicted the future, so if you want, check that out as well. Anyways, one theory is that these dreams are signals from your other self in a different universe. Maybe something is about to happen in your life and has already happened in their life. Or they're sending you a signal in your sleep to warn you about upcoming dangers.
In our number 10 spot, we have the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is the mecca when it comes to mysterious disappearances and rumors and urban legends, so of course it had to make it onto this list. The triangle, which sits in between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda, earned its deadly reputation starting back in the 1970s. Since then, there has been about 80 aircrafts and 60 boats that have gone missing in the triangle, which only fueled rumors that there was some sort of force or supernatural cause that was making this area one where people would often go missing. There have been intense electrical forces and tunnel-like clouds reported in the triangle, which some believe is the cause for the disappearances. Some others believe it's weather patterns, some believe it's the entrance to a parallel universe or a place where aliens like to abduct their victims, and some people like to dismiss the idea that there's any sort of mystery at all. At this point, exactly what is going on with the Bermuda Triangle remains a mystery. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Oregon Vortex. Just off of Interstate 5 in southern Oregon lies what is called the Oregon Vortex. According to local legend, it is said that this area and the strange and mysterious stories surrounding it aren't just modern legends, but that perhaps it stems back further. People have said that the stories of the Oregon Vortex actually stem back to when indigenous Americans referred to it as the Forbidden Land. It is said that during these times, people traveling on horses would often find that their horses would be refusing to go into the area, so clearly something strange was going on in there that was spooking the animals. Scientists have speculated that the land might contain some kind of crossed magnetic lines that produce some sort of force field, but whatever it really is, the place is truly strange. Things appear very differently here. It's sort of like an optical illusion. The area is basically a parallel universe in itself. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Challenger Deep. The Challenger Deep is the deepest known point in our ocean, around 10,900 meters deep. It is located in the Pacific Ocean in the southern part of the Mariana Trench, and because of its location, lack of light, and immense pressure, it hasn't been explored very much. The extreme environment has certainly set up for there to be a whole host of species that we know absolutely nothing about, but it is not an area that can be easily explored by humans. The Challenger Deep has only been visited 4 times, and only for short periods of time, so there is so much more that is waiting to be uncovered at this deep, dark part of our ocean, and I don't know about you, but I feel like there are insane amounts of ocean creatures that could fully be aliens. They are so strange and interesting and unique, so who in the world knows what really lurks down there. In our number 7 spot today, we have Point Nemo. I'm sure there's a few of us out there who dream of time alone, away from other people, and Point Nemo is exactly that. It's like a parallel universe where if you were to visit, you'd feel like you were the only person on Earth. This is the most remote location on Earth. It's officially known as the oceanic hole of inaccessibility because it is the furthest point away from land. This area is surrounded by more than 1,000 miles of ocean in every direction. There are obviously no humans who live even close to Point Nemo, which is why it is called that in the first place, Nemo being Latin for no one. This location is so isolated that the closest people to Nemo aren't even on this Earth. Since the inhabited areas closest to the point is over 1,000 miles away, the humans aboard the ISS are way closer than anyone on land. Truly just wild. Kind of sounds like a dream, kind of sounds like a nightmare. In our number 6 spot today, we have Kawah Ijen. Located in Indonesia, this is one of the most remarkable and interesting places on Earth. Firstly, this active volcano emits hot, flammable sulfurous gases. These gases ignite as they enter the oxygen-rich atmosphere of Earth, and this causes them to burn with a stunning blue flame. Further scientific processes also allows for there to be a flow of molten sulfur that also has that same striking blue flame. At night is really when you get quite a show from this coloring, as it quite literally looks like a flow of blue lava. The other incredible thing about this location is that there is a 1 kilometer wide caldera that is filled with turquoise blue water. The water color, while it looks gorgeous, is a result of extreme acidity as well as a high concentration of dissolved metals. It is an astonishing place to look at and really is quite magnificent.
In our number 5 spot, we have Different Life. For the second half of our list, we are going to be stepping away from science and taking a look at some people's stories of their experiences with glitches in the Matrix that may lend evidence to there being parallel or multiple universes. One day, a man was in his house when he became overcome with the urge to go outside and stand on his lawn. For a moment, he said he had the clearest feeling ever before he felt a slight wobble and everything began feeling slightly distorted. When it was over and he turned to go back inside, he saw his car in the driveway, the same make and model, but a different colored car. But that wasn't the only thing that was different. When he saw his wife, he said that she definitely looked like his wife, but he just had this feeling that she was different. He also started having memories that weren't his, and seeing buildings that, there was no way he could have never noticed in his time living there. Entire departments from his work no longer existing. Is it possible this man jumped to a parallel universe where his life was only slightly different? Maybe. In our number 4 spot, we have Wrong Memory. This one is a story of a false memory, seeming like an intense version of the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect being when a large group of people all share a false memory of something, which we mentioned in detail on the previous list. This person says that they vividly remember someone they know dying in a car accident, texting and driving, and going off an exit ramp that was still under construction. They remember themselves and their family and friends attending the funeral and everyone in their small town talking about it for weeks. Skip to 10 years later. Even the person's fiance knew about it and knew the person's name because of how many times they had told the story. One day their fiance is looking at their sister's Facebook page and says, "Hey, isn't that the girl who died?" The person came over to look, and it turns out that it was. Apparently also no one in the town after this incident had any memory of the car accident or the funeral that took place afterwards. So did this person potentially have a memory from a parallel universe where the accident had taken place? It's possible. Coming up in our number 3 spot, we have disembodied voice. People who believe strongly in multiverses and parallel universes usually believe that there are some places and occasions where the gaps between our universes are thinner, and it is easier for things to cross over or for the universes to communicate with each other. This story seems like one of those moments where the barrier was thin. When this person was around the age of 10, they were going to the beach with their aunt and friends when they were divided between 2 different cars. One of the cars didn't know the directions, so they were following behind the other car. When suddenly, it took a sharp turn and they had to follow and do the same, going around a very sharp bend. Suddenly, they all heard a very loud, clear voice in the car saying, "Sharp bend, The driver of the car hit the brakes as they all looked at each other confused, confirming there was no one else in the car that had said that. There wasn't even anyone close by outside the car who could have said it. So maybe it was someone managing to speak through the thin barrier between the universes, or was it a ghost? You decide. In our number 2 spot, we have the motorcycle crash. Sometimes people experience situations where the impossible seems to happen, and maybe it is impossible, but only in our current universe. This person told their story of a death-defying crash. 6 years ago, they were riding through town on a motorcycle going about 45 miles per hour. Suddenly, a woman who hadn't seen them turned left out in front of them, and despite the short amount of time, they remembered thinking about their options, whether they should go over or under the car. They laid the bike down and slid underneath the car diagonally. They slid across the pavement, no helmet, no jacket, just jeans and a hoodie. They slid about 80 feet before they stopped and were then able to stand up. No injuries, except a hole in their sweater, their bike having been completely mangled and torn apart. They knew that there was no way that they should have survived the crash, but somehow they did. A potential glitch in the matrix of the universe? Possibly. In our number 1 spot, we have takeout. Have you ever heard of Schrodinger's cat? Me either. The idea that if you put a cat inside a box with a bottle of poison, the cat is in a state of being both living and dead until you open the box and find out. Well, it turns out that, the food you ordered last night, your takeout, is also in a state of being your order and not your order until you open it up and find out. A man and his friend went to a Chinese restaurant where they ordered a chicken dinner and a shrimp dinner. When they received their boxes and opened them both, they realized that they had received 2 shrimp dinners. No big deal, just a mix-up. So they close the boxes and get ready to go ask for a replacement. But before they do, the friend opens the first box again, and instead of the shrimp dinner they had clearly seen before, it was now a chicken dinner, what they had originally ordered. They knew what they had both clearly seen. Was it possible that for a few seconds they had received their lunch from a parallel universe where they had ordered something else? Maybe.
Starting off this countdown, we have the scary last footage.
Ta oss åpne opp bagasjerommet.
This footage was filmed in 2006 and features 2 young guys driving along a dark road at night. At one point they decided to make a shortcut through the forest, and that's when things start to get strange. What's worse is that this is the last footage ever taken of them. It showcases their final moments, as they were never seen again. After driving for a while, they decided to get out of the car and walk around the woods. That's when they hear some weird sounds in the distance. While we never get a clear shot of this animal, it sounds like a goat or a pig. The final moments of the video show the beast chasing them as they try to get back to their car. In our 9th spot today, we have the tape glitch. So according to Joaquin Baldwin on YouTube, in 1994 he brought his Sony VHS-C camcorder with him when he went to go visit his cousins. When he went to convert the VHS footage to digital, he was completely shocked at what he found. The footage showed stuff that he had not recorded. The video starts off with what sounds like someone screaming, and continues to show weird clips that he doesn't remember. It left him, his family, and the viewers completely confused and unsettled. In our 8th spot today, we have The Creature.
Ascolta, mi senti o no?
This is footage of what appears to be a strange creature found in a Spanish forest in 2006. The two men in the video are seen entering a forest outside of the town of Campdevànol at night. As they get deeper and deeper into the woods, they come across some large feathers. Eventually they pan over to what looks like a man huddled over with an open wound on his back. So some people say that this is a fallen angel, or maybe the feathers don't have anything to do with this creature and it's like an alien or something. I don't know. Whatever it is certainly very creepy. Coming in at number 7, we have the stalker footage.
I found this one in the grocery store. She spent a considerable amount of time picking up the finest of items. I admire someone who only wants to pick of the bunch. So I followed her home.
A couple of years ago, there was a very creepy channel called Mr. Peeper. His videos were all about him filming other people with his creepy commentary going on in the back. But as of 2019, his account and all the videos were taken down. However, they are still circling around on the web. This clip features Mr. Peeper filming one of his victims.
It is a miraculous thing to be able to watch the person you love undetected.
I literally could not sit through this whole video. It is so eerie. Like, he just finished saying that he followed this girl home and now he's already obsessed with her and in love. At one point he even manages to get inside of her home and he films it without her knowing. That's it, I am not sleeping tonight. The scariest part is that the original uploader claimed that the segments of video found on his channel were discovered on SD cards, wrapped in plastic, and attached to the roof of a car that he found abandoned in the woods. Moving on to number 6, we have The Witch. This video starts with a man driving along a dark road in the middle of the night in India. As he's driving along, he notices something in the distance and decides to stop and watch it. In the distance, you can see a figure in a long white dress with long dark hair carrying a walking stick. Soon the figure gets closer and closer. The man is clearly scared as this thing is coming straight to him. Soon, it's too late. Many people believe that what he encountered was a real witch. Others say that the man's screams sent shivers down their spine. To this day, we don't know what happened to the man or what that figure is that he saw. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the lenticular clouds, aka the clouds from another dimension, or some people call them the UFO clouds. So these clouds typically form when the air is stable and winds blow across hills or mountains at different heights throughout the first and lowest layer of Earth's atmosphere, the troposphere. But sometimes these clouds have formed in places without mountains or hills. So what's going on with that? Not only that, but these clouds tend to stay in one place, the place that they are formed. Honestly, this is my first time hearing about these clouds and they're pretty crazy. Like, why don't they teach us this in school? So hands down, in alternate universes they have funky odd shaped clouds that don't really act like clouds, you know what I'm saying? In our fourth spot today we have the melting building. Located at 39 Avenue in Paris, this building appears to be melting. Let me explain. So back in the day, this building was in need of some fixing. Instead of having ugly scaffolding on display, photographer Pierre Delavie took some pictures from when the building was in its original form and then printed that onto a canvas. But what he also did was take the building and distort it a little so that it would capture the public's eye. Then they hung up the canvas at the front of the house. So behind it was all the construction and scaffolding, but people would never know. This way they would walk the streets in awe instead of being disgusted by the under construction house. Unfortunately, if you had plans to visit this building today, you can't. The construction is now done and the canvas has since been removed. But I'm telling you, maybe they got trippy little houses like this in other universes. Maybe all the houses there look like they're from Whoville. Coming in at number 3 we have the Snake Man. Have you ever been eating noodles and then you sneeze or laugh so hard that the noodle shoots up the back of your throat and out your nose? No? That what? Probably. It hasn't happened to you? Lucky, it's not fun at all. Well, in another universe, noodles aren't coming out of people's noses. No, snakes are. Okay, are you seeing what I'm seeing? My first question is why? My second question is why? And third is, are you out of your mind? I don't understand why this man thought putting a snake in his mouth and out his nose was a good idea. Now, there are a number of reasons why that is absolutely terrible. Not only that, but the poor snake had to go through all that as well. And he looks pissed as hell. Look at him, he's ready to attack, shh, you know? Anyways, this photo is so unbelievable that it seems as if it has come from a parallel universe. One where people don't have any common sense. Honestly, no. Snakes don't belong in any orifice. No. Moving on to number 2, we have the color blocked kitty. Hands down, this is the prettiest kitty I have ever seen in my entire life. And no, this image is not photoshopped. This cat not only has heterochromia with their blue and green colored eyes, but also has 2 different completely opposite fur colors. It's crazy how the cat is just split right down the middle. She is literally half of her mom and half of her dad. Her parents must have been a black cat with green eyes and a ginger cat with blue eyes. Genetics is just super weird, man, and I want this cat as my pet. I just wonder what her offsprings would look like though. And in our number 1 spot today we have the Baju tribe. How long can you hold your breath underwater? Did anyone say 13 minutes? Well, the Baju tribe of Southeast Asia can hold their breath for around 13 minutes. And that's not them just being still underwater. That's them swimming around underwater and hunting for fish. In fact, they can dive down 30 to 50 feet without any diving equipment. They even have been known to walk directly along the sea floor. This image is of a child from the tribe. He's underwater playing with a shark or a fish. I literally can't tell if that's a shark or a fish. Is that child just a beast and is taking that shark down? Or is he holding onto a fish and getting a free ride? Anyways, these individuals have evolved to have an extra large spleen that is filled with oxygen-rich blood cells. That's what allows them to stay underwater swimming around for a long period of time without coming up for air once. But it seems as if they're from another universe. One where humans can breathe underwater. I would love to breathe underwater. Smash the like button if you agree.
In our number 8 spot today we have Parallel You. This strange story starts out with the storyteller setting the scene for us. They wrote, quote, "This happened about 5 years ago when I lived with my parents. It was about 5 minutes after 8 AM and I had woken up, went downstairs and sat in the recliner. Dad was sleeping on the couch and mom was in the kitchen cooking breakfast, biscuits and gravy. Everything was normal. Okay, this sounds like a great time so far, but just wait. They then explained that they moved from the recliner to the dining room and then boom, suddenly they're at their friend Paul's house like they've been there the whole time. There are a couple other people there and someone who's underneath a jacked up car working on it. This is when they write, quote, "The guy underneath the car asked me to hand him the new muffler that was laying right beside where I was standing. I picked it up, I remember it had some weight to it, I recall the heat of the sun hitting me in the face, it was about 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I knelt down to give him the muffler and the weight being lifted off when I handed it to him. It was just all so vivid." So now, when the storyteller went to stand back up, they heard this sound that was similar to the splash sound that occurs when somebody jumps into a pool. Immediately the sound then went into reverse and then there was a loud clap sound and now they're back in their dining room. They go on to write, quote, "I looked around, looked at the clock and it was only 8:12. Dad was still on the couch, mom was still cooking breakfast, and I went into the kitchen to ask her what that loud clap was. She gave me a puzzled look and said, "What clap?" I covered it up by saying it must have been on TV, and I sat back down trying to process what had just happened, knowing if I tried to tell her what happened that she might think I'm crazy, so I dropped it and moved on with my day as normal. I have never had anything like this happen before or since. They finish off their post by saying that they think they might have transported temporarily to their body in an alternate reality, and to be completely honest, I have no other ideas of what could have gone on here. In our number 7 spot today we have Who Was That? Okay, I'm gonna need your opinion on this one and what you guys think is going on here, because this one has me a bit confused. So this post says, quote, "This happened about 2 years ago. So my fiance and I were lying down in the living room. His face is facing towards me and my face is towards him. My face is looking towards the wall behind him and his face is towards the living room space. On the verge of waking up, my mom walks from the kitchen to her bedroom, in which you have to pass the living room in between. She asks, 'Are you both okay?' asking from her bedroom. Not thinking much, my fiance and I both answer yes. In that moment, I got confused because I remember my mom telling me earlier in the morning that she was heading to town and she wouldn't be back until the afternoon. I get up from the couch, go to check her bedroom, and there is no sight of my mom anywhere. I told my mom about this and she confirmed that she had been in town from 7 AM to 5 PM. My fiance and I still talk about this to this day, and we are still freaked out about this." So my first thought was obviously a dream, but the fact that they both experienced it is the thing I can't get past. So what do you think happened here? Some sort of shared dream experience, something to do with parallel universes, some weird ghost thing? At this point, I have no idea. In our number 6 spot today we have the train to nowhere. It doesn't matter what train you're on, where it is, or whether it's underground or above ground, when the doors close, everything is lawless. I feel like trains are always the portal to another world, and this story only proves my theory. This story reads, quote, "3 years ago I was riding a train, got my ticket checked and took my seat. A few stops later someone else turned up and seemed to have booked the exact same seat to the same destination. The same train conductor that checked my ticket earlier came, we compared our tickets, and it turned out I was booked on a non-existent train number with the same destination and time, but strangely enough I had the same name as the one I shared a seat number with. Tried to check up on the number from my ticket afterwards and didn't get any hits for my actual train number." This is fully some platform 9 3/4 stuff that I cannot understand. In our number 5 spot today we have Am I Really Here? Okay, this Reddit story starts off with the OP explaining that on February 20th, 2022, they dreamed that they were in a car accident. They then go into extremely vivid detail of the scenario that led up to the accident itself, and then the aftermath of it, and they could so viscerally feel all of the things as they were happening. Their car ended up in water and they found themselves unable to escape, and they explained the thoughts that flashed through their mind of their family. Their phone was nearby and they managed to call their girlfriend, who didn't answer, and they left one last voicemail. It's all very detailed and horrifyingly sad, and they end it by writing, quote, "I remember crying to myself, trying to think of something else I could do to get out of this, to survive, but the water kept rising, and in the end I simply stared up through it at the faint flashing light at the surface, blue and red. I prayed until my vision went black and I couldn't fight to hold my breath any longer. And then I woke up, alone in bed, freezing with a cold sweat, but awake and confused. I don't know how or why I'm here, because I died. I felt my body die. I felt the water enter my lungs and the pain that it caused. I felt it all. I shouldn't be here." So this person thinks that they passed away in one reality and jumped into this one where that was all just a terrible nightmare. That is horrifying. That would be the most terrifying experience ever. Was this just a very vivid nightmare or an example of someone who jumped universes? In our number 4 spot today we have The Real Me. Okay, this story is a bit of a longer one, but it's so worth it, I swear. It reads, quote, "I was shopping at a thrift store in a small town I lived in several years ago. I was looking around and happened to be near the checkout counter. An old lady came out from the back and said, 'Are you?' said my name. I said yes, figuring I'd worked with her or something in the past, although she didn't look familiar to me. My name is not super common anymore, although I do see it on personalized items on a very infrequent basis. She was really excited to see me. She asked if I was still working at a certain school in a neighboring town about a half-hour away. I was confused and told her I'd never worked at a school in that town or any town. She appeared confused and stated that we had worked at the school together for a long time. I politely said that she must have me confused with someone else. She seemed like she was kind of scared at that point and again asked if my name was what she had stated before. I said yes, and she said, well, you look just like her. We chatted a bit about this other person and I asked what this other person's last name was and gave mine. She said she didn't remember, but she could have sworn that I was her. We laughed about it and I finished my shopping and left. I didn't think much about this till a few weeks later when I was walking down a street near my house. A woman, not the one from the thrift shop, came out of her house, saw me, and asked if my name was, said my name. I said yes. She also became excited and asked if I was still working at the school in the nearby town. I again explained that she must have me confused with someone else. She also said that I looked just like this other person with the same name, and she also didn't know the other woman's last name. This actually did creep me out. I've been mistaken for other people before, but not twice in the same month for a person who looks like me and has the same name with the same spelling. I think it is possible another reality crossed briefly with this one, and this was the result. No one has mistaken me for this woman since. You guys, imagine how strange that would be. I swear I wouldn't go anywhere ever again. In our number 3 spot today we have the memories. Okay, this story starts off on June 16th, 2015. Our storyteller was really into visiting the skate park at this time and was on an out-of-town trip with their mom and ended up visiting a skate park while on this trip. While at the park, they unfortunately ended up getting in an accident that led to them being unconscious for a few minutes and having a few minor injuries such as broken ribs. It definitely could have been worse and they were lucky to walk away from the accident, but during their time unconscious, they experienced something that they refer to as the 7 minutes. During this period, they explained that their life flashed before their eyes and that they went through basically all of their memories and then it was black. When they woke up after some time, they began to realize that while everyone looks the same, no one shares any of the same memories that they now have. The ones they saw during the 7 minutes. They have also stated that they now have this ability to feel when a family member dies, and as an example, they explained that they told their mother of their grandfather's death 20 minutes before she got the call. I think that would have been a really weird conversation, but once the phone call came, it was likely quite eerie. In our number 2 spot today we have a bike ride to another universe. This is a story that I have no explanation as to what could have happened, but when I first read it, it gave me that shivery kind of feeling. It was posted on Reddit and they wrote, quote, I was 11, maybe 12. We lived on this large piece of land in the desert with a truck repair shop on it. Most of the time we'd hear the mechanic tinkering away in the shop or our neighbor would be sitting out on his step. In the summer of 2013, I rode my bike out to the back of the property. There was a big hole with sheet metal covering it and I liked to ride my bike across because it would make an awesome thunder-like noise. I had done it hundreds of times, but this time it was different. I rode across and when my bike tires touched the dirt, I immediately felt different. Everything felt too silent. Everything felt static, like it was frozen. Like if I tried to move anything, it wouldn't move. I was honestly too nervous to ride back to my house. I felt like I would show up and everyone would be gone. Just missing. No people, no animals. I took a 15-minute break and just pedaled back. I always think about this. Maybe the vibration from the sheet metal was enough to create some sort of disturbance. Maybe being off in the back of the property by myself, but I loved doing that because nobody bothered me while I rode my bike. I never had any other experiences like that, and every time I went back to that part of the property, I would take my dog with me on a leash so I wouldn't be all alone. What do you guys think happened here? In our number 1 spot today we have breakfast in a parallel universe. Breakfast at Tiffany's or breakfast in a parallel universe, this Reddit story honestly could be the plot of a movie. The Redditor wrote, quote, my husband and I bought a country house, a place that we go to and work on most weekends. It's in a small town in Texas. One weekend we happened upon a restaurant that we had never noticed before. We entered and I remembered an older man, another customer with a cowboy hat on, said, you can just seat yourselves. So we made our way to a little table that was open in the middle of the busy restaurant. We ordered breakfast, ate, and left. Everything seemed normal. 1 or 2 weeks later, we tried to find the same restaurant and never could find it. We drove all around the town and on each of the roads out of town and never found it. The building where I could have sworn it was boarded up and abandoned. The building looked the same but long deserted. I feel like this could either be like a cool drama or an awesome eerie thriller, you know? But either way, this story would have had me extremely confused and questioning a lot of things. It's crazy to me that they both experienced the same thing because it takes away a ton of other possible explanations.
We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the other version of yourself. A number of people have shared stories in which people are like, oh hey, I saw you at this place, how did you get here? Or hey, I just finished talking to you at the grocery store, and they're like,
I wasn't at the grocery store, I wasn't talking to you. One guy shared a story where he got a text from his friend saying, was so great to catch up, hope to see you again soon. Now, he was confused, so he gave his friend a call. And the friend said that he just finished talking to him outside of a coffee shop for about 15 minutes, and that he told him all about his promotion. First off, the guy was home all day, okay, so he wasn't at the coffee shop. Second, he hadn't told anyone about his new promotion. So, it's believed that his friend was talking to himself from another universe. How wild is that? I just hope my parallel universe self is doing well.